afternoon, everyone. Who is hot out here? Yes, it is really hot. So, coming at you all today because I am just leaving the building, and I wanted to follow up with all of you in regards to breastfeeding at work. Many of you may have watched my previous video about breastfeeding, my last pump day at work. And I just wanted to come back with you to follow up because a lot of people may be under the impression, oh, it's your last day pumping at work, so your breastfeeding journey is over. And that is not true at all. Being able to breastfeed was extremely important to me because my child is a rainbow baby. I had 5 losses prior to her. I had 2 second trimester losses where I literally had to push the little babies out and we had them cremated. And then I had 3 first trimester losses, which were just as devastating. So going through that, you're like, dang, like I felt like less of a woman, less of a wife, less of a mother, less of a spouse, less of a lover. You know, it was traumatic. I have a lot of PTSD that is related to my losses, and you know, I carried my baby all 9 months, and we went through a lot. We went through a lot with the pregnancy, and I'm just grateful that she made it. I'm grateful that she's here. We are grateful that she is here. And breastfeeding was really important to me because number one, I want the best for my child, and I personally felt like my breast milk was the best for her. And also, it made me feel good. It made me feel confident in myself, that I was able to provide it. I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from, but breastfeeding made up for my inability to have my other children. Obviously, the breastfeeding journey and my living children now don't replace my other ones who have gone on to be with the Lord, but it helped me with my grieving process, and it was something that was really important to me. Breastfeeding at work. I don't want to, go back to day one because obviously I didn't record my whole breastfeeding journey, but I do kind of want to give a little bit of education as far as like the end of the journey and the weaning process. So in the very beginning, when you first breastfeeding, the baby's learning to latch. Some mothers may have nipple confusion when it comes to pacifiers or learning the baby taking the bottle and whatnot. My daughter took the bottle. I luckily was able to maintain that for quite some time. So around the 3-month mark, I did go back to work, and it was devastating. I struggled with it. I didn't want my child to go to daycare. Luckily, the daycare provider that we do have is a very trustworthy person. There's other children there. We haven't had any incidents, or we haven't observed anything that was alarming to us. So went to work. I went to work and pumped 4 times during the entire workday because I was trying to maintain that every 2-hour process during the work day. And then on the days that I would work from home, I didn't send her to daycare, and I would breastfeed her. Well, I'll say nurse her because pumping is a form of breastfeeding. So fast forward, boom, 1 year, hit the 1-year mark. I was like, oh crap, I don't get any more breast expression breaks at work. So I went in the office. I had a conversation with my manager. So by law in the United States, you are allowed 1 year of what they call milk expression breaks at work if your employer has 50 or more employees. They are federally mandated to provide breastfeeding breaks, or not breastfeeding, but milk expression breaks at work. Whether that means you're hand expressing, whether that means you're pumping, whether that means you are bringing your baby onto the job for however many times you need a day to nurse that baby, or you're leaving the work site and going to nurse your baby. Whatever that looks like for you, you are entitled to federally mandated breastfeeding breaks at work. Now, some employers are assholes and some are not. Some employers are not assholes, but you may have a jerk manager that just doesn't get it. I didn't have that experience. My manager and I, we had a conversation, and not my manager, my director. He knew what was the situation. He was very supportive. I explained to him that I didn't want to just stop pumping right away. I explained to him that I kind of wanted to wean the process. So I took time and I went from three down to 3 to 2. And then around that time, he was like, I would say she turned 1 in November. I would say around January, he was like, what you gonna do? Like, are you gonna still be doing these pump rates? Because this can't last forever. I was like, I know. So around that time, I did invest in a Mom Cozy. Now, the Mom Cozy is the pump that you did see me with in my previous video. It is an electric pump that you don't plug in. It is recharge the motors, and you just snap them in your bra. And I would put on a wrap at work, and I would pump 2 times a day. And then I went down to 1 time a day, and I maintained 1 time a day until I would say about 3 weeks ago. Once I dropped down to 2 pumps a day, my period came back. So yeah, when you start, the weaning process of expressing less milk, your period may come back. All of those postpartum hormones that a lot of moms experience during those first 3 months postpartum, those moms who choose to formula feed, and they talk about that 4th trimester, yeah, that 4th trimester is going to hit you really hard. It may or it may not, but the hormones, the anxiety, I've experienced, I would say, some bouts of depression. My hair has been falling out, and then it stopped briefly because I continued with the 2 pumps for, I would say, about a month, and then I stayed with the 1 pump for about a month and a half or 2 months. So now that I'm not doing any pumps, I've noticed that I've been really on edge. I've noticed that I've been snapping at family members. My patience is very little. My hair isn't falling out as much as it was, but I don't know what to expect. And I was scared. I was scared that once I stopped pumping, my supply would diminish, and she would not even want to nurse because there would be no milk there. Surprisingly, as soon as I get home, baby girl is on it. She's like, Mama milk, Mama milk. That's what she says, Mama milk. And I said, okay. And I just let her nurse. So right now, we'll nurse usually in the morning around 5 a.m. Between 5 a.m. and 6:30. 6:30, we're up, getting ready for work and daycare, out the door. And then she'll use frozen bags of frozen milk. The daycare provider will put those, whatever we send frozen, in a sippy cup and give it to her, or a little straw cup at daycare. And when she comes home, she will nurse sometimes. Sometimes she'll nurse right away when she sees me, and sometimes she won't. Sometimes she'll want to play with her older sister or by herself, or just run around the house, and she's not interested in nursing sometimes when she comes home. So that second session is kind of iffy, but she definitely wants to nurse after dinner, and she definitely wants to nurse right before bed. I still nurse her to sleep, and she'll still wake up 2 to 3 times a night. So I'm still nursing her like anywhere between 5 to 7 times a day. Now, is she getting a hell of a lot of milk? No. She's probably just taking in some squirts here and there. It's probably just most comfort nursing. Now, when I squeeze my nipple, there is milk that squirts out. But if I was to do my Medela plug in the wall electric pump in style pump, I would probably just get maybe an ounce, maybe 2. But she's not, I highly doubt that my baby is getting like a full meal off of milk. She's not. But you know what she is getting? She is still getting comfort. She is still getting white blood cells, because there's 1 billion white blood cells in 1 drop of breast milk. She's still getting antibodies. She is still getting all of the proteins and the fat and everything that my breast milk has. She is still getting it, and she is still benefiting. So I don't know how long this journey is going to last. There are some days when I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't want it to end, because I just love the connection that my baby and I have. And there are other days when I'm like, I can't do this no more. I'm done. I can't. I'm touched out. I want her off of me. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And I go back and forth, which I think is normal. But for those of you moms who are thinking about the weaning process, That's my experience. For a little while, as you see with one of my other videos, I was combo feeding with whole milk. We no longer do that. My baby girl does not like whole milk at all. I haven't tried other kinds of milk. We briefly tried to do goat milk, but that just wasn't, it wasn't the, she was not feeling it. She does not like whole milk. She just doesn't like it, and I'm not gonna force her to eat it. She eats cheese, she likes pizza, she eats yogurt, and she's still on my breast milk. And then we have the sunlight for vitamin D. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but my child is not malnourished. I'm still giving her her vitamin D drops, her vitamins, so I think we're good with that. Um, Calcium is the same thing. There is a lot of calcium in breast milk. It's the vitamin D that a lot of breast milk doesn't have, and that's mostly because a lot of us as women, especially women of color in the United States, yeah, like vitamin D is something that we don't get enough of. A lot of us are vitamin D deficient, but I also try to take my own vitamin D supplements. Um, Speaking of supplements, I am still taking a prenatal, and I do still take vitamin D supplements because I do still um, want to keep up my own nutrients while I am breastfeeding, and my own energy, because she is taking nutrients from me. So if you are breastfeeding and you are extended breastfeeding, I recommend that you do continue taking your prenatal or your postnatal, whatever multivitamin you usually take. What's the positives to the fact that I'm not pumping at work anymore? I can get work done. I go the whole work day. I'm busting my ass at work just like my coworkers. I feel like an equal contributor to the team. My supervisors no longer have to adjust things for me to make accommodations. And I mean, I'm sick of the pump. I'm sick of it. I'm tired. I was done with the pump. What is the downside? The downside is I also kind of miss the pump. I miss seeing that milk coming out, like, oh, look at my milk. You know, I'm providing for my little girl. I'm so proud of myself. Like, I miss that. But what I don't miss is the anxiety that comes with if a lot of milk isn't coming out and you're like, shit, where am I? Damn, I'm going to have to go into my freezer stash. That freezer stash is for later on. I really don't want to get into it, but I got to do what I got to do. Like, you know, do I have a clogged duct? Like, why is this milk not coming out? It can cause you to have a lot of anxiety, and sometimes it can be, straining on the mental health. However, if I could go back in time, I really would have gotten measured for a proper flange size from the get-go. I would have met with a lactation consultant outside of the hospital just to get remeasured, because I feel like I wasted a lot of time messing around with those 24, 26. But anyway, for all you moms out there and you are breastfeeding and you're wondering what the weaning process is like, that's what my experience is. It's a lot of hormonal changes, all those postpartum blues and stuff. You have to keep an eye out for them. Be mindful of that. Be mindful of the hormones dropping. And yeah, it's not the end of your experience. Like, this has been an amazing journey, and I am so grateful and I am so blessed to have experienced this. What else can I say? I am extremely proud of my journey, and I encourage all of you to continue with yours. Thank you so much for being with me. I have to get on the road. I have to get home. But you all take care. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.